Vinny, are you ready to serve your emperor?
Man, I feel like I've been serving my emperor ever since I started this job.
Or since you were born?
Yeah.
Well, luckily, we have Mitch Lagren from Relic here to show us Warhammer 40k Space Marine. How are you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Excellent. So, yeah, we're looking at Space Marine. And I'm going to be honest, it's been about a year since I saw this game, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. So why don't you just set us up? Where are we at in the game here? What's going on?
You bet. Well, you're playing Captain Titus, and you're sent to the Forge World Garai to try to take care of a 1 million-strong orc invasion.
It's a lot of orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's they're quite the horde, but you're Space Marine, so it's not too much of a big deal for you.
What's the ratio of Space Marine to orc? Like how many orcs is one Space Marine good for? Would you say?
Oh, probably tens of thousands.
Okay, all right. So the odds are a little more even than it sounds like.
Yeah, well, yeah. The Space Marines are basically the universal badass, so
Right.
they can handle most of what the orcs can throw at them. Yeah, and right now we're just with the Inquisitor Drogon, which is a guy that we just met up with, and we're trying to get him to safety with his experimental device that we just picked up. You can see that hanging from Titus's belt.
Oh, it's not like a space lantern?
That is not a space lantern.
Oh, man.
Although I guess it could be used for one.
That's the experimental device. They're going to bring lanterns to the war.
Exactly. It's quite terrifying.
So where does this fit into the fiction? Is this a whole new story, or is this a continuation of other Dawn of War games?
No, this is a whole new story. It's created just specifically for Space Marine, and it was created at Relic with, of course, lots of input from Games Workshop. Yeah, so
We are on a brand new adventure.
you bet. Yeah, it's a brand new adventure, mostly new characters. Of course, we have a lot of the stand-ins. I mean, the Ultramarine chapter and the Orc Horde and all that are, of course.
You didn't make those up?
No.
So what's going on here when the action kind of slows down for a second and you sort of look like the color palette desaturated a little bit? Was that any kind of like a melee move going on there?
Well, the color palette being desaturated is just being low on health.
Okay.
What happened when he slowed down is, so our game is all about getting you directly into the combat. So one of the parts of that is what we call executions. And your health does not regenerate. The only way to get health back is by stunning an opponent and then executing them. So basically the orcs are your health packs.
Nice.
Yeah, so when...
That's convenient, because I understand there's a lot of orcs out there.
Exactly, it's quite nice actually. And yeah, because of that, the slowdown was during one of the execution moves, I think, so he was basically in the middle of probably just pummeling quite brutally some orc.
So this is the part where we just bombard you with questions. What's the bar up on the top there?
So the bar up at the top is your health and armor. The glowing bit around the top is the armor meter. That regenerates over time because Space Marines have power armor.
Okay.
And then the health bar is the part inside that's flashing, and that's a bit lower, so that's what you have to regenerate by killing orcs with execution moves.
Inquisitor, your wound is slowing us down.
I can manage.
Brothers, take him to the Valkyries. I will draw the orcs off and meet you there.
Give the power source to the sergeant then, Captain.
No, Drogon. The orc chieftain wanted the power source. When his orcs see I possess it, not you, they will follow me. Move out.
So now you're just splitting off with your party there. A little bit more information about the melee combat system we were just talking about is, so basically, you have 3 attacks. You have your normal attack, which you're seeing a lot of, and then what he just did there was a power attack, which you can, or a heavy attack, which stun and knock back your opponents. And you can intersperse those into your normal combos, and they'll do different types of things depending on the placing that you use them at. And then, in addition to that, once you've stunned an enemy with your heavy attack, you can stun or to use the execution move to gain health back. So it becomes a very rhythmic thing with all 3 different types of attacks playing fairly important roles.
So it's not just good enough to take down an enemy or an orc. You have to do the execution move to get your health back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And he's coming up to a drop pod here that has one of the most kick-ass weapons ever, Thunderhammer. It pretty much makes Mjolnir look like a child's toy, as well as a jump pack, so he's going to be able to launch himself into the air and then slam down upon his enemies. So yeah, you can see the Thunderhammer is quite epically awesome.
So did he lose? He traded it in for. He traded in his axe basically for this.
Yeah, he traded in his axe, and also because it's such a large weapon, he's limited. He can only use his normal gun, the bolter, and the bolt pistol. And his bolter's actually having to be held in one hand because obviously the Thunderhammer doesn't really leave you with hands free to do much else.
Any kind of upgrade system? Is there any way to kind of tweak out or customize your weapons over time?
Jeez.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense weapon.
Oh, man.
And you can see the ground pound there is quite powerful as well. We have upgrades that you find along the way, and a lot of different... we have a fairly wide variety of weapon loadouts that you can choose from. And you can have up to 2 weapons along with your regular bolter, which you'll upgrade throughout the game as well. So it's mostly in choosing the types of weapons that are going to play with your style, because they all do play quite vastly differently. Like, you'll see the jump pack and the Thunderhammer are completely different from what we were doing prior to this.
I'm sorry, I'm totally mesmerized by this hammer and turning guys into just mist.
Oh yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's my favorite loadout. Anytime I'm playing multiplayer, I always end up with the jump pack and the Thunderhammer. It's just a ton of fun.
Boots aren't bad either.
No, especially when you got a 1-ton Space Marine wearing them.
It was really cool before seeing you next to, I guess, what like the colonial kind of, I forget what they're called, the regular dudes that look just like 3 feet tall next to you.
Yeah. A bit about the Space Marines for those who aren't into Warhammer 40k too much. They're like the universe's biggest badasses. They're super soldiers that are genetically and biologically enhanced. They weigh somewhere around 1 ton. They're 7.5 feet tall. Like, they are just giant hulking warriors. So they do make the Imperial Guardsmen look like
just little infants.
Yeah, exactly. And they own the battlefield quite easily, you'll see. And another thing I should mention here is one of the enemies that we're fighting right now that you might have noticed is the Weird Boy, which is an orc psyker that can teleport units into the battlefield. So that's that guy there. He can also teleport himself away. So at this point, we have to try to chase him down so that he'll stop summoning in more orcs at us so that we can get on with our mission. Another thing that you'll notice is that we just used Fury there. So on the lower left-hand corner of the screen, you have the Fury bar. As that gets built up to the top by basically wreaking havoc upon your opponents, you can use your special Fury mode, which will make all of your attacks quite ridiculously more powerful, and it'll also give you a marksmanship mode in range. So when you aim with the left trigger, you'll go into marksmanship mode, things will slow down, you'll get some extra time to aim, and your shots will do more damage.
So are you on the field by yourself at this point?
Yep. Yeah. Right now we just split off with from our squad. We're trying to draw the attention of the orcs away from them actually because the Inquisitor is damaged. So right now it is just Titus, his Thunderhammer, and the jump pack.
What more do you need, really?
I don't think there's too much more you could use.
Space lantern.
Yeah. There we go.
So I was up to like I said, I saw the game about a year ago. I was actually up to the studio to hear you guys talk about it some, and you had like one of the kind of core dogma at the beginning of development was that like Space Marines are not like they're not going to cower behind cover. You know, like they're just going to charge into battle. So they're like as a consequence there is no cover system in this game. Did you guys ever waver on that choice at all? Like have you felt pretty strongly that was the right way to go to have this kind of as a straight ahead action game and not more of like the stop and pop style of shooter?
No. It was definitely a very conscious choice and something that we've stuck to the whole time. I mean, it really is, like, we want you to feel like the biggest badass on the battlefield, so we want you to run right into the middle of it. And the cover system really holds you back and forces the player to sort of take themselves out of the gameplay. So we removed that. We added in things like regaining your health by killing your opponents and gaining fury by getting really up close and using your melee. So a lot of the decisions in the game are made toward just getting you right into the center of the battle, because really that's what we feel like Space Marines are all about. Like, they are the biggest, baddest guy on the battlefield, so you should be right in the middle of it, and you should be basically controlling it.
Is there any kind of a customization before you get in, like setting up your armor, putting decals on, painting, making miniatures, clipping a bonsai tree to make sure it's,
In the single-player campaign, we don't have customization because you're playing Captain Titus, so he's a captain of the Space Marines. He has his own armor and his own setup. In multiplayer, we have an extremely robust customization system. I think that there's something like 1.8 billion different combinations of setups you can do in there.
Jeez.
Plus, we have a full set of perks, and you level up to level 40, and you unlock more perks and more loadouts, and 3 classes that you can customize as well. So.
And can you play as the? I haven't seen it. Can you play as the orcs in the multiplayer as well?
Nope, it's Space Marines versus Chaos.
Oh, okay.
So later on in the game, the Chaos show up, and our
Like they
multiplayer
always do.
Yeah, I know. They're very pesky, those Chaos. Yeah. And another interesting thing with our combat is it's really based on making it a very fluid transition between the ranged and the melee. So we have like a full-fledged, proper third-person shooter, as well as the entire melee system. And there's no real separation when you're using them. You can just hold the trigger and you're aiming your gun and shooting, and you just press a melee button at any point and you're using your melee. So the system is all based around making it extremely fluid, transitioning between the two systems.
It almost sounds like you couldn't get away with only using one or the other, right? It seems like they kind of have to be used in tandem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a Space Marine also is not just your standard warrior. These are extremely skilled experts at using all of their tools. So the player does have to use the tools that they're given in order to make it through the game. So that includes, by the way, this is marksman mode while using the jump pack. So that's when you use a Fury and you start aiming, it'll slow down time.
There's got to be an achievement for that, huh?
No comment.
So when he picked up the hammer from the drop pod, did he have to pick that up? Was that a story beat to pick that up? Because I can't imagine doing these levels without the jump pack at this point.
The jump pack is something that's for specific parts of the game. It runs out of fuel after a while, and then you just have to let it go.
You gotta huff it?
Yeah, exactly. But the Thunder Hammer you can use at different parts. You'll keep it. You can swap between it, the chainsword, and the power axe.
Through the drop pods?
Yeah. There's different drop pods and different types of weapon caches throughout the world.
Okay.
And they'll usually give you a pretty full choice on what type of weapons you're taking with you. We didn't want to limit the players in what types of tools they're taking with them. That should be kind of a player choice. And we have a fairly large selection of weapons, everything from like plasma cannons and heavy bolters and auto cannons to melt-a-gun, which is our shotgun that basically shoots out a wave of superheated energy at your opponents to melt them, to stalker bolter, which is sort of a battle rifle type gun, to the storm bolter, which basically pisses out ammo at incredibly high rates.
So rated E is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good for kids everywhere.
Right, they just go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So you mentioned the Chaos shows up later on in the story. Obviously, plenty of other antagonistic forces in the 40k universe. Are we going to see any of these other guys that people are familiar with, or how much are you guys talking about that stuff?
We're not talking much about that right now, as far as I know, so I probably shouldn't say anything.
We'll get you in trouble with your bosses.
Yeah, exactly.
Would a Space Marine ever pick up an orc weapon to use it?
I don't think so, no. That's not a...
Sounds like it would be beneath them.
It sounds like
Yeah.
it's below the Space Marines
That's right.
code.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
like he would not debase himself and his empire.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't really think that they'd ever have a need. I mean, look at those orcs and their little axes.
Yeah, their stuff doesn't glow nearly as much.
Exactly.
I mean, would you want to use weapons designed by people who refer to themselves as choppas
I don't know.
flyboys? I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends where I am in life.
I don't know. Personally, I'd always go for the Thunder Hammer over that, but... just a little bit of a... In case anybody didn't notice, we have another weird boy here who's trying to hold us back, so... Right now, we're trying to hunt him down and take him out. They're quite powerful enemies, the weird boys, so...
Is that teleport on like a cooldown? It seems like he could just kind of evade you all day long if you're not...
Oh no, he won't
Not
evade
fast
you all
enough.
day long. He'll actually, he evades you after a little while, so he's not going to just stand there forever while you hit him, but he will actually attack you back as well. So we're just kind of coming at him a little bit late every time, I think.
Is that a new enemy type made for this game, or is he in the actual canon for the universe?
Oh no, the weird boy's in the canon. Actually, I think pretty much all of our enemy types are within Warhammer canon. One of the only things that isn't is we have a weapon type called the Vengeance Launcher, which we created especially for this game, which is a giant grenade launcher that shoots sticky grenades that you can blow up, so you can have about 5 grenades out at a time and then
detonate them when you feel.
Yeah. But other than that, everything is pretty well within the canon of the Warhammer 40k universe.
I assumed it had to be. I've gotten the impression that Games Workshop is keeps a pretty watchful eye on how people use their property.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very serious and passionate about it, so they don't let you just do anything. I love that. I like to think that's how Space Marines play baseball.
So, all right. I know only a little bit about. I know enough to get me in trouble about the universe. So the dreadnoughts, right? Those are there's a dude inside there who has been too damaged to go on in his human form, and it's not like a mech that people just pilot, right? That is basically the guy.
Yeah, that is like.
Or what's
in
left
fact,
of him.
yeah, it's basically what's left of a Space Marine that has fallen on the field. They'll put them into a dreadnought suit. I mean, to give you a bit of an idea, like Space Marines are extremely valuable warriors. They live for hundreds of years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they're. Like, if you're looking at Captain Titus here, I think he's somewhere around 200 years old, and
wow,
he's like
pretty good.
Yeah, and there's a lot that goes into making these guys. So when one dies, it's a fairly big deal. You can't. They're not just like some random Imperial Guard soldier that's dying on the battlefield. They want to make sure that they're utilizing these guys in the fight against all of the Xenos around the universe.
Gosh, I need to read those books.
Yeah, it's a pretty fantastic property to work in. I mean,
we were just having a conversation the other day about I love the fiction, and every time I'm like, man, I'm gonna go dive deeper into it, and then I go look at the books and stuff, and there's just a sea of books, and I don't even know where to start. And everybody has an opinion about where to start.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty incredibly rich lore, and I mean, there's just tons going on all the time, so it's definitely very interesting to.
It seemed. I mean, I had no idea these guys were that old.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if you look on, like, Captain Titus has a couple of knobs in his head, and those are those sort of show you what his ranking is, and they're kind of badges of honor.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
it's like Frankenstein.
Yeah, I
stuff?
always wondered what those things were.
Yeah.
It's not just some kind of electrode.
No.
Or jumpstart him when he goes down. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Now he's done.
Yeah. So we ran out of fuel. We're just heading back to try to meet up with our allies here. There's an Imperial Guard force as well on the planet trying to fight back the orcs. So we're going to a sort of bastion that they've got where we're going to meet up with them.
This is Primus Command. Orcs inside the perimeter. Move to secondary defense positions and hold the line.
The girl talking there is also a character. That's Lieutenant Mira.
Cool.
How come they don't wear helmets?
Actually, most Space Marines do. Captains don't. I think it's partly just that they're so badass that they don't really need a helmet. I mean,
It's just arrogance.
yeah, exactly, sort of. I mean, he hasn't really needed it so far.
Your Valkyries are the fastest way to reach.
Seems like pretty expansive levels in some places. What kind of technology are you guys on?
Yeah, we're using one of the engines that was developed by another THQ studio that we sort of taken and made into our own. So
Okay.
it's one that was used for Darksiders. So.
Okay, cool. So all in-house tech, kind of.
Yep.
Cool.
So I think that's probably the end of our demo.
I feel like we just went full circle right back around. Very cool.
So you guys are pretty much coming down the home stretch here.
Yep,
on
we're going to be released on September 6th on PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. So we're right down to the end, and hopefully we'll have the game in people's hands and enjoying it in the next month here.
Excellent. Well, Mitch, thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks so
thank you, guys.
much.